Well, when I decided to get into speedway, I had all the mechanical gear already. Being a hot rodder, I had a lot of stuff under the benches and around the place, and so I really basically needed a body and a chassis, and hopefully something that had race history on it. So a friend of mine up in Yamurka, who collects 36 Fords amongst other stuff, Ernie Ford, went up, saw him, and he had this old body that was no good for what he wanted to do, but it was probably ideal for me. So I bought that and put all my running gear into it.
The 2-in-1 taxi. Where'd you get that?
At Lowline.
Here and then we roll them there.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if they're high. Just well, just cut off. Get that cut away. Cut it off now. Cut something up there. I will.
I think it's good.
Look, it's only a little hobby that we do, so it's just it's a sideline to the actual Spades Hot Rod Club anyway. So we're still hot rodders deep down, and that's what we do on a regular basis. This is something we do about. We get them out 6 times a year, and that way we're not overdoing it. We get plenty of guys turning up to do it. If you did it too often, I think you'd probably start losing a couple of numbers, because not everybody can make it every time. So only about 6 times a year, and that's heaps. Well, look, basically it's a 1936 Ford Coupe. I bought the body and chassis off a friend of mine that he bought it from another person that originally raced in Queensland at Archerfield Raceway back in the late 60s. Mechanically, it's pretty well. Driveline is stock in the sense that it's early Ford front suspension, gearbox, motor and diff, so it's all pretty early Ford stuff. The motor is actually out of a Ford Pilot. Although it's 1952, the Pilots were pretty behind on the technology, so it's like a 21 stud, what they call 21 stud, an earlier motor, but being a Pilot engine, it's pretty well stock, apart from I've got a later model intake manifold on it and a carby off a 253 Holden. I'm guessing this style of car was your backyard home built car, where your blue collar worker found an old body, probably didn't have a shed, probably might have had an arc welder and an axe and made a car out of what he had. They're pretty well, as with this one, they're pretty well all Ford. They're not a factory built race car or anything like that. They're just an old car that was a few bars put into it, lightened off, a couple of little tricks to make it go around corners, and nothing of any expense or any major modifications.
Well, I reckon it will. Can't get to it. The tin steps. Give us that thing. I'll clean that up.
Top.
Is that going to be better?
Yeah.
That'll do it. Yeah, that'll be right.
Oh yeah. You're hitting on the
That'll be
exhaust there. Oh, the exhaust too, yeah.
Has it hit the exhaust, is that?
Yeah.
Who said
The outer tube?
it's not finished. It's just not, so I've got a bear.
You can cut that out and tune it.
Is it hit by much?
Sorry?
Is it hit by much?
Only a little bit.
Only a little bit, but just grind it out of the steering column.
When the motor rocks, it'll be fine.
Which way's it rock?
That way.
That way, so it goes, opens up, so it'll be good.
Shit, you didn't get much out of it then, did you? Really? Oh no, because you've knocked the piece out of it.
Yeah,
So
taking about an inch out of it.
Put a flat steering wheel on it.
No, that's going to hit my
one of them
nose.
quick release ones, you know. Pull a little pin out. Yeah, you can bring your foot back though. No, you could go that way a bit more. Yeah,
Yeah, but the pedals are up there, you know.
brake.
Just don't take off, then the motor will stay like that.
Short thing, bigger, isn't it?
I think what we need to do is cut this out so it looks like that.
Yes. Hey, that'd be good.
I might be able to tin skip them and roll them over like fingers, you know, like that.
Roll it like that.
Yeah, but that's...
Is it hitting the exhaust pipe?
Yeah, that's what I say, let's move it across a bit.
Cleaned up.
Stop.
That's stop and turn.
No, it's not hitting the exhaust
Turn
pipe.
straight out, isn't it?
No.
Stop, stop.
We can move it across, though, I'll give you a bit more service.
We've got to... Yeah, we can't, that's going to hit it.
We'll cross about an inch now.
Yeah, we've got 20 inches there.
So we'll do that, have it across
Okay, straight up then. So have you got enough room for your knees there? Okay.
there. You want a second?
Hey, what happens if you drop the seat down a bit more? Take that wheel out and just put a couple of blocks of wood under you. That might give you a little bit more.
It'll give me a bit more.
Probably give you less leg room though.
Good tack it now.
Okay. Well.
Just lifted it up, what? Up the column. Yeah, get very close to the exhaust now.
Right?
Yeah. Eyes.
I've cut a hole in the mouth off. Yeah, saw that. Are you sitting up there?
Yeah, that's right.
Right, can that move?
Yeah, can't see out the windscreen for steering wheel.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
How's the camera line?
Where's the mask?
That's probably like that. What do you want?
What's called?
I'm in a hot scoring trailer. Clean the brakes up. Yeah, we'll do that tomorrow. I was going to do it today.
Have they got audio or not?
Oh no, because they put a big boom in.
Yeah.
It's on this one?
Yep.
Come down anymore.
We just lifted that up.
Can we go that way?
Yes.
Oh, no.
We can't go that way.
No, we can't.
Around it's coming up, that shaft.
Oh,
That's on an angle, just.
yeah, it's jammed, so.
It's on an angle down like that, so when it goes around, the shaft does come up.
doesn't.
You just put it in.
We'll have to make a whole new thing for it, that's all.
Yeah.
We usually do everything twice, we used to.
What's on with
It was working.
You see how thick look?
No, won't steer at all now.
I said, if you cut that off, I'm going, I'm not going to be anywhere.
Now we can't steer it at all.
Well done, Vic. Well done. We could have put a small steering wheel on it.
Put a flatter one.
Put a Falcon steering wheel on it.
Yeah.
Oh, you can lift the motor up.
Oh, yeah, hey, we will. Put space in on it.
I suppose stock car racing exploded in the mid 50s and went right up to the late 60s and early 70s before it started dying off. Yeah, well look, they were probably your run-of-the-mill car turned into a race car for Saturday night, and probably down the track these started drying up a little bit and started more evolving into FJ Holdens and NFC Holdens and to, you know, to what you see as a street stock today, being a Commodore or a Falcon today.
Perfectly fitted exhaust unit at the moment.
Yes.
I think Vic should make headers fine.
They're done. The exhaust is finished. Ah, Cliffy and his
We're
big
moving
ideas.
across.
Yeah, already.
Did you keep those pieces?
And there's a point.
Moving across.
Move motor cross.
Still effective colour.
No, it won't affect anything. If you take those bolts out, pull the motor this way an inch and then drill it again.
Make the exhaust again.
Competition on the phone.
No, exhaust not moving.
Who is it?
Turtle.
Hey, is that the competition? Turtle. Good.
Put your pants on.
I'm just with all the boys looking at this pilot.
Cliffy just cut the steering down.
Cliffy just fucked the steering up. Talking about a 37 coupe getting built up your way.
Oh well.
Hey, it looks bloody
We had it
fantastic.
worked down to 140. Not that wheel, it was a jerry can.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think the jerry can was about the same height.
Hey, you know what I was going to say to you? What you've got to get is, you know, the starter motor solenoids out of the Pommy cars, the little
Little spanners at home.
That's what everybody uses. They screw one of them in the door and.
You had to put a clutch in mine last weekend.
Did you?
Yeah. Centre fell out of it.
Oh shit.
I was still working, but the bits were caught in the lining. Couldn't get out of gear. I like that. On the back of that Falcon go.
No lawn, no. Directly over the trees, you take it.
There's no, they don't grow anything over there, they eat cards.
It becomes stock, doesn't it? When you flick it. Right, Andrew? Yeah.
My mate Andrew has got his on Chef truck and he's got the biggest one.
You got more?
The other stock car shop, Pete's got the 93 car. And Adam's got the one that was issued at 35 Greenway.
That's got a car.
That's a
A bit gay.
Craig used to do that. He'd go to shake his hand. He'd go to shake Craig's hand and like.
Greg does it on purpose to see what they're going to do. Seem to give you that look, you know. That's not going to do any more.
You really should turn them out, Pete, so it doesn't cut through the rubber.
Show you. See the difference.
So you reckon that they had multi-holes in the first one? You can still yes. That's the worst it's going to be. If you step, if you turn that, where you want to go.
Bobby just shot over, he hasn't worked for the last time.
That one's stuck. That's all right. There it is.
That's the canut.
Yes! Oh, you went down there? Yes, sir. Because I was going to...
Not strong enough. Bill, you strong?
What do you want to do?
Put the strap on, mate. You get it on, did you?
Yeah,
Oh, this has been locked in. How do we get this out?
it's like a seatbelt clip.
Yeah. What's the
Oh, you get it out.
And you'll edit this and say 10 minutes later.
Yeah, look at that. And no wire.
Where the pedals are?
Because we've dropped the motor back in and the firewall back, that's why. We've recessed the motor in like, it's about
4 or 5 inches.
8 inches.
Yeah, what about you putting a flat wheel on it or something?
Yeah, that comes back in here. So the pedals up there.
We're going to have to chop 6 inches off Cliffy's legs.
Where the pedal is.
It looks like a monkey roof
And
in
then-
football.
Trying to turn
Put
it.
the steering down so low.
Cliffy.
I reckon it needs to go that way.
Take it up higher.
Yeah.
Looks like a NASCAR drive.
We can go up.
NASCAR.
Yeah, up.
Can you tilt it up?
Yeah.
Oh, you got the
You've got
eagle.
plenty.
Yeah, but even if you,
I'll just cut
even if
them
you
off.
redo these and
Yeah, yeah.
Even if you cut them and just lift them
No,
up.
leave them
Doesn't
off
matter if
there.
they're welded at the back.
I'll cut them off here and then we'll weld them there again.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter if they're higher. Just weld it at the back of the boat.
you'll never get them off.
Get the cutting wheel, cut it off now. We've got to take some of the firewall, get it up.
I reckon, cut them across there, take that thing off and lift that up.
So how many cars we got for Sunday?
You get the cutting wheel and cut. He's not coming.
Him.
Yeah.
Used to call him.
If you cut it there and there, we can just slide it up.
You can't because I've got the lock on that. I'll slide that up and then go up.
To the whole lot. Yeah, if we cut the welds, slide the whole lot up. Or if you cut this, you've got to get short and bring it up.
We've got tough fingers. Is that going to be better?
Yeah.
That'll do it. Yeah, that'll be right.
Oh, yeah. You're hitting on the big exhaust there. Oh, the exhaust too.
Does it hit the exhaust, is it?
Yeah. Who said we out of tune?
It's not finished. There's two knobs, so I've got a
You
bearing.
can cut that out of tube and walk.
Was hit by much?
Sorry?
Was hit by much?
Hold it up. Brake.
It's all right, we can put right down.
That's the only one you've got to worry about.
The brake.
Yeah, all the other ones you can be a bit gimpy with those.
Put it around the accelerator.
You only need that in at the pits.
The shortening mechanism.
Yeah, I had the stump grinders there, grinding the stumps out. Did a footing from the old shed, concrete block was big. The tree had grown over and held in the ground. I had to get out my bobcat.
Just lifted it up, Bob.
What, the column?
Yeah. Get very close to the exhaust now.
You want?
Yeah. Eyes.
Hold his hands to it.
Cut a hole in the mountain now.
Yeah, for that.
Are you sitting up there? Oh!
Bad, Bob, is it?
Yeah, that'll do.
What? Can that do?
Yeah, you can't see out the windscreen for steering wheel.
Right, watch your fingers.
Beautiful.
All these wings are up.
We're going to cut them off.
Alrighty.
No, they're not favourite.
Yeah, but they deserve it. Shit, they would.
Oh, where's it going? I've got a cross there and under there, and you should be able to peel it off.
That piece is in the way. See where that cut goes down into there.
Did I get you? No, I'm faster than you.
Yeah, you got $900 for the equipment off Brandon.
Yeah. Gee.
No lawn. All concrete now. They don't grow anything over there, they eat cars. It's all quite a textbook.
You can see the whole.
The hole's a bit lower.
Let's get it back under the brush now.
That's it.
Yeah, it's become stopped. When you leave it.
Oh, I wouldn't like to read his head.
My mate Andrew's got
What's the go with Clancy? He's pulled the chassis out from under.
What, to buy more ointment? Maybe it's distorted because we welded on it as well. I was going to bring the hot rod today, but it was raining this morning. Then when I went home to fix the bobcat, I thought, oh, I'll bring it back, and I didn't. One listen from here.
The other stock cars at Chop, Pete's got the 93 car, and Adam's got the one that was this year, the 35, the green one.
Don't like it. It's stuck, right?
I'm Bob Maloney and I'm a member of Spades Rod and Custom Club. I was a late entry. I've known them for over 30. We're building hot rods since 1980, and you just run across people in the circle, in the hot rod circle. You go to shows. And I've known a lot of them. I've known Peter Quaid, who originated the club, since 1969. I met him here when I first came here to race. I just came up here one day, some friends said, come and have a look at Dalesford. I was in the area. I drove up here in my Jaguar and my duffel coat and my pork pie hat and cruised in here, watched the stock car races, and within a week I'd got rid of my Jaguar and was driving a custom line and building a stock car. And it changed my life completely. But my dad used to take me too as a kid to Brennock Park in Ferntree Gully, and I've always liked old cars and old stock cars. Oh, they were originally called stock cars originally, and then they became hot rods, and then they progressed to more high performance. But originally they were the original stock car, which was just an old car pulled off the road and the mudguards removed and a roll cage put in and raced. And they progressively got heavier and heavier at tracks like Ferntree Gully, at Brennock Park and Baxter Park and things like that in the 50s. And then in 56 this track opened, and the cars were raced here primarily for racing, and then they just got heavier and heavier, and it became a full contact sport.
My duty to advise you of the following. Motor racing can be dangerous. It be damage to the sport, and you may suffer serious personal injury or worse. If after doing this, those concerns are not addressed to your satisfaction, you advise you withdraw from this meeting.
And it was virtually a last man standing in a lot of races. But tracks like Tracy's Speedway, they kept to the pure racing and stay clean and don't hit anybody. You'll go a lot faster. But Dalesford catered for the public, and the public like to see crash and bash. They still do it today, and they've got crash and bash cars today that are sort of full contact. They mainly just spin each other out to get a better position. Nobody demolishes each other.
Well, our main aim is to put on a display for the crowd, and we try to generate what you would have seen in the 60s. If you went to a stock car meet or the late 50s or something like that, you would have seen it. We probably don't have the crash and bash that they had back in the day, but towards looking at the field of cars, it's probably the closest thing you're going to get to what you would have seen in the 60s. Yeah, look, it's a bit of a holy grail for a lot of the guys, because a lot of the old stock cars that we've got have actually been found or raced at Dalesford. So we like to go back to Dalesford. There's quite a few guys that race with us that raced at Dalesford in the late 60s, probably early 70s, and it sort of holds a special spot for those guys.
That's a broad flathead, a 49 twin spinner motor, single spinner motor. That's been walked over a bit. Time to see a Ford in a shed.
It's a 8BA flathead Ford motor out of a Ford spinner, and it's just had an H&H flathead kit put through it out of the States. I built it myself, and it's just basically it's thrown together, but it's a good engine for a flathead. I reckon it's one of the last freedoms on the planet. It's just a wonderful, wonderful thing where people can go and drive old cars and spin out in the dirt and enjoy themselves without anybody policing it. Yeah, well, it's me against the car. I don't like beating people on the racetrack as much as I like overpowering the car. It's a fight between the car and I. That's the way I look at it. It's a 1938 Chev Sloper with a Ford motor in it. So it's a Bitzer, which is a lot of old race cars used to be, just whatever you could find and run. They're grassroots hot rodders. It's all about cars. There's no politics in the club whatsoever, and there are a couple of good show-winning cars in our club, but the majority are driven, seat-of-the-pants hot rods with no bull dust or bullshit, whatever you want to say. You know, they're real cars. You know, some haven't got any trim in them. Some are just modified old cars, but that's what hot rods were. They weren't $1 million cars like they've turned into today. Going sideways is a big thing with me. Speed's got nothing to do with it. It's driving sideways on dirt. That's all it's about.
What's the sensation that you get from that?
The control of the car, sort of being in control of the vehicle. Pedal to the metal and fingers crossed.
It sounds a bit like the theme of Chop.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yes.